Okay. Hey Rakesh,
Hi,
sorry.
hi. No worries, no worries.
We apologize to everybody for the delay and all the issues. We had some technical problem. We really don't know what it was. We'll try and get that sorted out. Um, I guess. Thank you, Rakesh. Thank you for being patient. I know
Not
we've
at
been
all.
harassing you for the last 25 minutes. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for accommodating our request and being part of Everlast. This is our sixth session of Everlast. And we are very happy to have somebody like Rakesh as part of the show.
Thank you, thank you.
Just want to quickly introduce Rakesh. Uh, he's known to a lot of people, one of the most popular faces in Chennai today. Rakesh is also called the singing chef. He's one of the guys who is a great singer and great chef as well. Today he's doing a lot of work in the food travel space. He actually does a lot of exploration in food, and a lot of work is done in these South Indian food space. So I think I'll get Rakesh to talk now on his journey. Let's talk of to start with. Let's talk of food and travel and your exploration of food, Rakesh.
Sure. So every time before this, first of all, thank you for having me on this. It's lovely to be, live and sharing my journey. So every trip that I have done, even when I was a kid, even subsequently after I went to my B school program and after I got married, it has always been any place I would pick. There needed to be something around food. I mean, either visiting places that were deep rooted in culinary history, or it's probably one of those iconic eateries. So people would know. They would call me, even today they do that, when if they're traveling anywhere to deep south or if they're traveling anywhere abroad. Enna anga pona, what are the must eat, what are the must visit places to go and enjoy a meal. So this was there everywhere, and the idea of documentation happened much later. But I think even after I got married, my wife would want to do all the artsy places, the museums and all of that, whereas I would be like, okay, this is where we're doing breakfast, this is where we're doing lunch, evening dinner ku munnadi or snack inga, and things like that. So I think that interest in food has always been there. Even when you look at my younger days in school, it was always, whether it was sports or whether it was art, I think I preferred more the arts, and I think food comes under art.
Absolutely. I think I probably will want you to elaborate a little bit more on I know you've done some work in the temple food space. So
Right.
why don't you talk of that? I think it's very interesting, and I want people to hear that as well.
Sure. So the whole exploration of temple prasadams happened because of my connect with Carnatic music. I'm a trained vocalist, so I used to be performing during the music season and even otherwise, like collaborative performances with different musicians. Then it sort of, I think, I felt a lot more connected with music when I was tracing the history of food, and that happened because of when I was researching about the Akkar Adisal, which is one of the prasadams made in most of the temples, particularly the Sri Vaishnavite temples. The verse occurred in the Andal Pasuram, and I said, why not do a thematic presentation and that's how I do a thematic presentation called Sacred Offerings, which is where I cook the temple prasadam. I sing the pasurams where prasadams are mentioned. I talk about the culinary history, the mythology is woven in, and interesting anecdotes again form the narrative of the cookery presentation. So sort of appeals to all five senses. So interestingly, it started off with the Akkar Adisal and went on to many other temple prasadams, understanding how prasadams as a concept would have evolved. Then I went into Sangam literature a little bit, reading, understanding what kind of food would have been there. So you understand when you look into food, especially like a temple prasadam or food of the indigenous communities in India, you understand a lot more of the culinary history, the region, the topography, what kind of economy was available, was there back then. All of that gives you an understanding. So that's kind of where it started.
Absolutely.
So,
Go ahead.
no, so like of all the, you know, you know, of all like the, so like the trips which you've done,
Yeah.
which one has touched you the most? Which one has, like you wanted to go there again and again? Like you've gone to a place maybe like 4 or 5 times. So like which place would that be?
I think every trip of mine, I have like a basic framework of what I'd like to explore, but every place has been very gratifying, I would say. But if I had to pick maybe one place, I think it is Tanjavur, because it can stimulate your senses in every which way possible, whether it is art, architecture, food, whether it is the handicraft that is done there, whether it is the different communities there, whether it is the Tribhuvanam and the Darasuram, the saris that are woven there. So many things form the narrative when it comes to Tanjavur. The entire region itself has had different conquests, right from the Vijayanagaras to the early Cholas, and then you've had the British rule, you've had the Tanjavur Marathas. So everything is influenced. Every era of different dynasties have sort of added fabric to what is already there and made it a beautiful fabric for us to enjoy.
While we were talking about all this, is there a song which is which has like associated with like Tanjavur and your whole journey?
There is a song which I probably learned a long time ago, which is it's one of these typical folk songs. Station and every railway station has different food items that are like famous. Like Kodai Road, for example, when we were kids, it was famous for puri masal. Peralamnu, there's a railway station near Tanjavur where cashew nut vadais are famous. So on the Madri, I think there was this one particular song which goes like Vandi Varugudadi Vadamadurate Sanile Tandi poi pesudadi Tambu chetti methaile மெத்தையிலே வண்டி வருகுதடி வடமதுர ஸ்டேஷனிலே தந்தி போய் பேசுதடி தந்தி போய் பேசுதடி தம்பு செட்டி மெத்தையிலே தந்தி போய் பேசுதடி தம்பு செட்டி மெத்தையிலே தந்தானே 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 தந்தானே. So in the Mari, every paragraph will have like different kinds of food that will keep coming in the song.
Okay, Rakesh, you mentioned the Pasuram.
Yes.
I want to listen to your Pasuram as well.
Sure. So this is a part of the Nachiyar Tirumozhi. Nachiyar Tirumozhi, she prays to the Lord at Tirumalirimcholai, that is Andal, where she says she will offer Akkara Adisal. She says, Nuru Tada Vennayum, Nuru Tada Akkara Adisal. And Tada in today's context is the measurement, is the size of a pond. So she says she will offer that if she ends up marrying Rangamanar at Sri Rangam. But she is married and she's gone. But eventually, much later, Ramanujar comes and offers this on Andal's behalf as her brother. And it is celebrated even today on the 27th day of Margari, called Kudarai Valli. The Kudarai Vellum Sirgo. So anniki it is celebrated, and in a notional way, there are 100 cups of butter and 100 cups of akar adisil that is offered even today. And again, that's on the 27th day. So the Pasuram goes like this. நாறு நரம் பொழில் மாலிரும் சோலை நாறு நரம் பொழில் மாலிரும் சோலை நம்பிக்கு நூறு தடா வெண்ணை வாய் நேர்ந்து பரவி வைத்தே நூறு தடா வெண்ணை வாய் நேர்ந்து பரவி வைத்தே நூறு தடா நிறைந்த நூறு தடா நிறைந்த அக்காரடிசில் நூறு தடா நிறைந்த அக்காரடிசில் சொன்னே ஏறு திருவுடையான் என்று வந்து இவையே கொள்ளுங்கோலோ ஏறு திருவுடையான் என்று வந்து இவையே கொள்ளுங்கோலோ கொள்ளுங்கோலோ கொள்ளுங்கோலோ
Fantastic. So Rakesh, I don't know why you didn't take full-time singing, but fantastic. Go on, Akshay.
Yeah, I mean, so to be like, like on the same topic, so how did you get into food, like after your masters, and I believe, and that was in the US as well.
Yeah.
So like, how did you move from that to food journey,
See, I think that interest in food has always been there, and this I realized today because even in the past, I remember telling my parents that no matter what I did, whatever I studied, I would see myself only in food, whether it is running a restaurant or whether, I mean, today it's at a more intellectual sort of way where I'm trying to connect food, or rather connect through people, break barriers. Use food as a conversation, use food as team building. So a lot of things that using food. But I think deep down that wanting to do something in food has always been there. And I think that something is what has materialized today. And that is because I think I've always been intrigued by food, because food at home is fabulous. What Amma makes, what Party used to make. And I realized the value of that when I went abroad for my masters. ஒரு சிம்பிள் ரசம் ஒன்று பண்ணணும்னா எவ்வளவு கஷ்டம்னு அப்பதான் தெரிஞ்சது. And here we would just like comment left, right and center. இது இல்ல, it needs more spice, it needs more salt. But when you actually are away from home is when you realize the value of home and the people behind running the home. So I think that connect with food happened. Rather, it has always been there. I think it helped me connect better when I was away from home.
So what do you cook at home?
I barely get the kitchen because my mom and I, we usually it's like it's 1 week munadi I have to give an appeal saying, you know, I'd like to cook, and then she allows me, she allots time. I'm just joking, but Sundays is usually my time in the kitchen. One day of giving her also rest. So it's Sundays I try and experiment, like bringing back some of these traditional recipes or food from other parts of India. So that's one day where I go berserk in the kitchen.
So, what's your most favorite dish? Or let me put it this way: what's your mom's favorite dish which you make?
She actually likes the Tirunelveli sodi that I make. Kumbakonam kadapa. Then there is a Mathura aloo. Some during the time of fasting, they make it in parts of Mathura. It's a very Sattvic style potato masala. She likes that. Yeah, I mean, quite a few. I've tried to replicate her puliyodare, and I think I'm kind of there, but not really. So that's going to take some time.
Yeah. So while we are on the same topic, so like we wanted to ask you something about your new project of Amma Unnanum. Like how did this start? You know, uh, so I mean, what brought this on for you and for your mom?
See, so yeah, I realize.
Hey, your
Sorry.
fan following has gone up significantly thanks to your mom.
Absolutely, she's a riot. Earlier, I mean, Kanna Pinana, she's and see, the best part about it is it's unscripted, right?
Correct.
We just go. It's literally like going live and just telecasting it. But the idea behind Amma Unnanum, I mean, what we're doing now is like it's because of the lockdown. We are literally, with very minimal amount of technology and camera support and all of that we are doing. But the idea started off when I've heard people talk about food saying, oh, my mother used to cook like this, my grandmother used to cook, oh, you should have tasted her grandmother's food. We've always left our culinary history go away with the previous generation. We've never documented food, we have never written it down. It's always oral history. இப்போ அம்மா கிட்ட பாட்டி கிட்டலாம் you ask them for recipes, they'll say மூக்குத்தி அளவுக்கு வந்து பெருங்காயம், அப்புறம் கொஞ்சூண்டு அப்படின்னு, they'll always show their hands. But see, but that is their way of cooking, and that's exactly why food tastes so much better when they make it. And when we make it with precision, with like teaspoon and cups and all, it doesn't turn out like that because food is intuitive. Your cooking is intuitive. So for me, the idea was when I put together a concept like this, I said, food ultimately should bring back memories. There should be conversation. These are simple recipes. These are nothing earth shattering, but there's a lot of love. There's nostalgia, there's memories, there's conversation. And for people watching it who are out of India, which is a significant population that is there on my YouTube channel, for them it was just going back to their childhood, watching Amma and me speak, whether it is the recipe, whether it is the small anecdotes that are thrown in. For them it's like, oh, here is this boy, just like the way I sat in my kitchen counter with my grandmom, and connecting with food in his own way. But that was the idea when I put together Amma Unnanum, because it's nothing but Amma and me, the food that she makes and the food that I have enjoyed eating all these years.
Yeah. I mean, so like we have heard from a lot of people that, that in this time of lockdown, in the last, like 100+ days, they've tried, almost all of, like almost, like all the food that you've made with, like with your mom. So that show has become so famous that, we all want to try it. We all wait, like for, like on a Sunday morning, and we want to see that and on the Sunday or the Monday. So like
It's there. They always know Wednesday it's only my episode, which is Rakesh Shudan. Sundays is Amma Unnanum. I mean, it's almost like it's become like people are addicted to it in a good way now.
Good. Hey Rakesh, I want to get on to another topic, but before that I want you to sing one more, probably a film song, before we go on to the next topic.
Sure.
Any song of your choice?
Sure. தென்றல் வந்து என்னை தொடும், ஆஹா சத்தம் இன்றி முத்தம் இடும், பகலே போய்விடு, இரவே பாய்கொடு, நிலவே பன்னீரை தூவி ஓய்விடு, தென்றல் வந்து என்னை தொடும், ஆஹா சத்தம் இன்றி முத்தம் இடும், தூரல் போடும் இந்நேரம் தோளில் சாய்ந்தால் போதும், சாரல் பாடும் சங்கீதம் கால்கள் தாளம் போடும், தெரிந்த பிறகு திரைகள் எதற்கு, நனைந்த பிறகு நாணம் எதற்கு, மார்பில் சாயும் போது தென்றல் வந்து என்னை தொடும், ஆஹா சத்தம் இன்றி முத்தம் இடும், பகலே போய்விடு, இரவே பாய்கொடு, நிலவே பன்னீரை தூவி ஓய்விடு, தென்றல் வந்து என்னை தொடும், ஆஹா சத்தம் இன்றி முத்தம் இடும்.
I also have a request from Mahesh Sundaresan. He wants you to sing Enna Samayalo.
இவருக்கு பயங்கர இன்ஸ்ட்ருமெண்டேஷன் வேணும். ஷூர். Are you waiting for me to sing?
Yes.
Should we do that later? Because I really don't know the lyrics also.
Okay.
Okay, sure.
Okay, no problem. We'll talk a little more before you.
Sure.
Okay. So like we, to take food back to like one whole like like a whole like a few years ahead. So like, what was it to eat with your party, and so how was that a part of your whole journey?
I think, see, I lost Party when I was really young, so I don't remember much of her. But when I eat the food that say Amma makes, or when my aunts, when they make, it immediately has that ability to transport you back that many years. Familiar smells, familiar sounds have that ability. They transport you back. You think of your childhood, you may not remember what you ate, but it gives you of some imagination somewhere of ipdi irundirukkalam appadina. So I think that is where it is. I don't have memories of eating too much cooked by my party, but I know when I eat some of the recipes that's made today, I'm reminded of her fabulous food and what she made back then.
Rakesh, shifting, I want today fast food is kind of the theme. So I want to know what fast food typically is only youngsters kind of food.
Right.
So how do we, what kind of fast food should we take to seniors? And I'll probably word it differently, saying, what fast food will you give your party or your?
Well, today I think it's come to a point where I think even idli, dosa, vada and pongal is considered fast food, considering they're there in the QSR space. So I mean, why not? Pongal has been there since time immemorial. So if that can fall under
Pongal is not fast food. Pongal is a meal.
Well, people eat that also, right? meal
Yes.
or whatever it is, they still eat it.
I'm saying a snack.
I really don't know. I think any kind of bhajis, bondas, or even like a, I don't know, like a samosa or a dokla or something like that. If it's a snack, then it can be given to.
Okay. Have you done any fusion of North Indian, South Indian food?
I've not done North Indian, South Indian fusion because I think every cuisine itself has recipes that are yet to be brought out and put in like a culinary map. So I generally don't tend to play around by bringing two things together because I think everything has its own sort of individuality and that should not be lost. But what I did, a food festival that I did for the Park Hotels, I called it Annam to Arancini. And this was nothing but traditional recipes, long lost and forgotten, South Indian recipes, um, put together in a very, very modern, contemporary way. Without compromising on the originality of the recipe, without compromising on the taste and ingredients, and not bringing in, say, a molecular gastronomy type cooking technique. Not that I'm against it, but I wanted to keep it the traditional way, but just present it in a way that was very, very modern. So, for example, to give you an understanding, puliyodara is usually in our house, it's paired with a karamani or an avaramani kolambu. Some people also have it with more kolambu, with appalam. So what I did was, like an arancini, I made a ball out of puliyodara, coated it with a paste with appalams, and then deep fried it like a patty. Then put it on a bed of the avaramani kolambu with a more kolambu drizzle and presented it in a way. So none of the people who knew for the tasting, they had no idea what they were going to taste. The moment they tasted that, they were like, wait, this feels like childhood. This feels like my party would have made this for me. And that is exactly, I think we at Park kind of hit the ball out of the park with just that one statement, because that is exactly what we wanted to do. It was nothing but grandmother's kitchen reimagined. So that is something that I'm very, very passionate, because Indian food, particularly South Indian food, has never been presented in a very aesthetic way, because it's always this yella with one mountain of rice or biryani with things that go over it. So,
Rakesh, the way you describe is mouth-watering. So I think we should do it one of these days.
sure.
Okay. So, like, is there another kind of an example of something like this, of what you've done?
We did. What else did we do? We did so Kutan Choru. Kutan Choru is something that is made in Tirunelveli, usually by the farmers during the time of harvest, where every recipe, every ingredient is sort of pooled in by different people from different communities, different villages, irrespective of socio-economic conditions. So someone will bring the rice, someone will bring la dal, someone will bring vegetables, firewood. The madri, everybody will contribute. It's like a one-pot cooking. And it's very rustic. In fact, I spoke about this in my TED talk also, where I said this is a classic example of how food brings people together, irrespective of communities, your social strata, or whatever it is. So this again was part of the food festival, where I made like a thin roulade, like a Swiss roll, where we cut thin slices of potatoes, made like the Kutan Choru, which is nothing but rice and lentil mash with the spices that go into it. Put it in between this potato and rolled it up nicely, and put like a Kutan Choru kolambu, which is the sauce, over it, and again just put it in an oven and sort of baked it, just to heat it, not with the idea of baking, and served it to people. So they were like, wow, what is this? Because it looked very fancy. It looked like something that you would find in a French or an Italian restaurant, but it's nothing but Kutan Choru. And we didn't call fancy names. We called like spade a spade. So Kutan Choru was Kutan Choru.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think we'll probably break for another song.
Sure.
if you're ready, Enna Samayalo, or sing a old song, PBS song.
Yeah, I think that is better.
Okay.
நிலவே என்னிடம் நெருங்காதே, நீ நினைக்கும் இடத்தில் நான் இல்லை. நிலவே என்னிடம் நெருங்காதே, நீ நினைக்கும் இடத்தில் நான் இல்லை. மலரே என்னிடம் மயங்காதே, நீ மயங்கும் வகையில் நான் இல்லை. நிலவே என்னிடம் நெருங்காதே, நீ நினைக்கும் இடத்தில் நான் இல்லை. கோடையில் ஒரு நாள் மழை வரலாம், என் கோலத்தில் இனிமேல் எழில் வருமோ. கோடையில் ஒரு நாள் மழை வரலாம், என் கோலத்தில் இனிமேல் எழில் வருமோ. பாலையில் ஒரு நாள் கொடி வரலாம், என் பார்வையில் இனிமேல் சுகம் வருமோ. நிலவே என்னிடம் நெருங்காதே, நீ நினைக்கும் வகையில் நான் இல்லை.
Wow, nice. Superb.
Thank you.
You know, a lot of people know like about your food. A lot of people know about your shows, and you know, like all the, you know, like how you go to you know, and to like, you know, to like, you know, to like different towns and do all the food.
Right.
But a lot of people don't know about your music journey at all.
Mhm.
You know, like you know, so like we want to know for how long you learned, and are you still learning?
No to the second question right now. More like self-taught, trying to learn on my own. But I started learning music very, very late. When I was maybe like in first year college is when I started, because the Munadi people would be like, oh yeah, you know, sing whatever. But I've never thought of, you know, learning music as such. They would ask me to sing, I would sing, but it never occurred. And you know, talk about gender stereotyping there, where my sister was sent for music class and I was sent for sports. It should have been the other way around. But yeah, I started learning, and then I went to I learned initially. I started learning from my mother's aunt, Bhanumati Ramakrishnan. I learned with her for about 4, 5, 6 years, I think. That's when all the music search competitions happened, Ragamalika, Saptaswarangal, and all of that many years ago. Then I learned, I went to the US, I came back, I learned from Miss Jaya Krishnan. I learned briefly with Carnatic vocalist, senior musician N. Vijay Shiva. Avarkittiyum I learned. And then now it's pretty much what you know, inspires me, like these pasurams that I sang, I tune them on my own. My mother helps me sometimes. So Andamadri. So that's pretty much been my journey in music. And then along the way, recorded for films before I went to the US. After I came back, my recent one was a song that I recorded for a national award-winning film called Kutram Kadidal. Sang for that. Sung in a couple of Kannada films. But this year, because of the lockdown, I think it's also helped me sing a lot more, because I've been like in one place. It's the longest I've been in one place without going out, shooting, exploring, documenting. So I think I'm going to take up my music a little more seriously this year and going forward.
Good. Actually, there's a request from a singer that you should take Nilave in solo song in one of your Smule podcasts.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So to talk and to talk about like the lockdown, all that, of course. Um, how has that like affected like all your, kind of trips to the towns to do you know, to learn a new dish or to do a new kind of a video?
See, so I think because of the lockdown, that's kind of what prompted a different format of Ammavum Nanum, a different format of Rakeshudan. Because I used to, wherever, and I realized that you don't necessarily need to, travel when there is a constraint. I'm not saying you shouldn't travel at all, but in the many constraint இருக்கும்போது, it's not necessary that one needs to travel. So you can talk to people there. I have enough and more friends and family who know cooking at the back of at the top of their mind. So it's always great to access them and understand their recipes. Like if I call up someone in Chettinad, if I call up someone in Virudhunagar, Tirunelveli, or parts of Karwar or Mangalore, there are people who will just flood you with recipes and information. So it's right now I'm able to demonstrate that through my kitchen, my studio. But I think once the lockdown is up, there is another concept that I'm working on, and I will be out with my team shooting and filming and documenting.
I think we're all like eagerly like, waiting for that.
Yeah.
So, to talk about on the same topic of travel, which has been your fondest like memory of food and music, say, or individual?
I think food and music for me, where everything sort of came together, was Tirunelveli, where like this is there the same story about the Kutan Chore, because this was the time when I had started up my food business. I ran it for a while, and it was not something that it was not something that went, or rather, it never really sort of took off. So it was a journey where I went. It was more like a soul searching trip where I went to document food, but it was open ended. I said, what's there? And that's when I saw this group of farmers who were celebrating their harvest. And when they were making this particular dish where each of them brought something, and that's when I asked them, I said, what is this? They said, oh, this is called Kutan Chore. When everybody brings a certain element into the dish. So, and they said, why don't you sit with us and enjoy the meal? And the shameless me, when it comes to food, I'll just go whoever it is, wherever it is. So I went, I sat with them, and I enjoyed the meal. Appa, they regaled me with stories, not just about that recipe, but about the community, about the region, about the food. And for me, I realized that the connect that I had with food before my entrepreneurial journey, when I ran my startup, all seemed to sort of come back in a flash. Because for me, it was about food, it was about cooking, it was about talking, it was about people, it was about bonding, nostalgia, so many things that came together. And that was the defining moment, where they were also singing, and I joined them, and it sort of occurred to me that this is what I should be doing, which is documenting food.
And about the music over there?
Music on the madrina. So music on the when I go, like, see, I had gone to a place near Anekatti to document the food of the tribal communities, indigenous communities, the Irulas, and some of the other tribal community there. Apo, there are people who told me, mentioned some songs, where if you understand the song, if you know the song, you'll actually know the seasonal produce. Like a particular green, or a particular kira which is grown only in Karamada, which during that one particular time of the year, during monsoon, is when you go out to pluck. The rest of the year also it's there, but during that monsoon is when all this is there in the song, in that particular language. So it was very interesting to understand all that. Nice. I mean, it's not just food, you also understand that there's music, and music is there across all categories. It could be classical, it could be folk, it could be music from, it could be Carnatic music that you're listening to in fancy auditoriums. It could be something where I'm sitting in that person's house in a hut and enjoying. It's gratifying at the same. It's all the same.
Hey, there's a request for a song You mentioned about Kutram Kadidal,
Yeah.
Chinnanjil Kiliye. So this is a request to sing that song.
Sure. Should I do that maybe just before we wrap up?
I think we'll do this and then do some more talking and then have one more song to wrap up.
Okay. சின்னஞ்சேறு கிளியே கண்ணம்மா, சின்னஞ்சேறு கிளியே கண்ணம்மா, செல்வ களஞ்சியமே. சின்னஞ்சேறு கிளியே கண்ணம்மா, செல்வ களஞ்சியமே. என்னை கலி தீர்த்தேன் உலகில் ஏற்றம் புரிய வந்தாய். என்னை கலி தீர்த்தேன் உலகில் ஏற்றம் புரிய வந்தாய். சின்னஞ்சேறு கிளியே கண்ணம்மா, சின்னஞ்சேறு கிளியே கண்ணம்மா, செல்வ களஞ்சியமே. பிள்ளை கனி அமுதே கண்ணம்மா, பேசும் பொற்சித்திரமே. அள்ளி அணைத்திடவே என் முன்னே ஆடி வரும் தேரே. அள்ளி அணைத்திடவே என் முன்னே ஆடி வரும் தேரே. சின்னஞ்சேறு கிளியே கண்ணம்மா, செல்வ களஞ்சியமே. ஓடி வருகையிலே கண்ணம்மா, கண்ணம்மா, ஓடி வருகையிலே கண்ணம்மா, உள்ளம் குளிருதடி. ஓடி வருகையிலே கண்ணம்மா, உள்ளம் குளிருதடி. ஆடி திரிதல் கண்டால் உனை போய் ஆவி தழுவுதடி. உச்சிதனை முகந்தார் கர்வம் ஓங்கி வளருதடி. உச்சிதனை முகந்தார் கர்வம் ஓங்கி வளருதடி. மெச்சி உன்னை ஊரார் புகழ்ந்தார் மேனி சிலிர்க்கதடி. கன்னத்தில் முத்தம் விட்டால் உள்ளம் தான் கள்வெறி கொள்ளுதடி. கன்னத்தில் முத்தம் விட்டால் உள்ளம் தான் கள்வெறி கொள்ளுதடி. உன்னை தழுவிடிலோ கண்ணம்மா, உன்மத்தமாகதடி. உன் கண்ணில் நீர் வழிந்தால் என் நெஞ்சில் உதிரம் கொட்டுதடி. உன் கண்ணில் நீர் வழிந்தால் என் நெஞ்சில் உதிரம் கொட்டுதடி. என் கண்ணில் பாவை என்றோ கண்ணம்மா, என் கண்ணில் பாவை என்றோ கண்ணம்மா, என் உயிர் நின்னதன்றோ, என் உயிர் நின்னதன்றோ. என் உயிர் நின்னதென்றோ.
Fantastic, fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, how good was lockdown for you? You had a new format in Amma on Anam, a new format in Rakesh. In what new things are you doing in lockdown?
A lot of food.
You're doing a lot of planning as well.
Lot of planning, scripting, time இருக்கும்போது, because it's after a long time, like I said, you are actually in one place. So, and you're also able to think, because I think this lockdown has given people an all-time reset button to understand what they really want out of life. So for me, I think I know it's probably privileged to say you've enjoyed your time being at home, but for me, not going out to shoot and instead spending time with my son, with my wife, with parents, I think it's a good thing in a way. But again, consulting for restaurants and all of that has taken a beating now because of this, and I'm assuming that's how the foreseeable future is also going to be. But I guess we've managed to put out a lot of interesting content in the form of food, and that's and the concept of thinking and creating stuff, because it's not just recipes, it's also recipes that have a story to tell. And I think that's what that's kept me going so far.
Good. No, I think for a lot of people, lockdown has been very, very difficult, and so I think we are all privileged to say yes, we have done a lot of things in lockdown. I think
Correct.
That's a blessing, no question in that. And and I think moving on, what do you plan, or what do you advise people to organize, to do things to organize themselves for post lockdown in terms of food, podis, urgais, what else, when people get busy? Are you doing a segment on that?
Yes, in fact, I just I think last week I put out one nice Andhra Paruppu Podi or Kandi Podi, because it's something that I learned from an old lady when I'd gone to visit one of these remote villages in Andhra Pradesh. Appo, she taught me how to make it, so that's there on my YouTube and all other social media. But I think now is the time, whether people cook or not, I think every family will have either that one person or maybe one book that someone has written. It's time to maybe flip those and see what our ancestors.
I think the lockdown has made a lot of new chefs, no question.
Yes. There was one meme where there was a MasterChef India or MasterChef Australia queue, and it's men standing like kilometers together. And one thing that this lockdown has also done is made men realize the value of women, not just in the kitchen, but appreciating the work that they have done. Being for women who've been at home, I think men have particularly taken them for granted, but it's actually a tough job to run a home.
Absolutely. Rakesh, I think it's. I know we started very late, but it's already 6:15, so we probably have to wrap up.
Okay.
But definitely want to wrap up with a song from you.
Sure. I will.
So Sundari Kanal, if we may give like a suggestion.
Sure. One of my favorites. There on my Smule also, and many people have joined me on that. So sure. சுந்தரி கண்ணால் ஒரு சேதி சொல்லடி, இந்நாள் நல்ல தேதி, என்னையே தந்தேன் உனக்காக, ஜன்மமே கொண்டேன் அதற்காக. நான் உன்னை நீங்க மாட்டேன், நீங்கினால் தூங்க மாட்டேன், சேர்ந்ததே நம் ஜீவனே, சுந்தரி கண்ணால் ஒரு சேதி சொல்லடி என்னால் நல்ல தேதி. வாரங்களும் மாதம் ஆகும் நானும் நீயும் நீங்கினாய். தாரரரராரரார தாரராரராரரா. கோடி சுகம் வாராதோ நீ என்னை நீங்கினாய். காயங்களும் மாறாதோ நீ எதிர் தோன்றினாய். மறுநாள் நான வருவேன் அந்நாள் வரக்கூடும். சுந்தரி கண்ணால் ஒரு சேதி சொல்லடி இந்நாள் நல்ல தேதி. நான் உன்னை நீங்க மாட்டேன், நீங்கினால் தூங்க மாட்டேன். சேர்ந்ததே நம் ஜீவனே சுந்தரி கண்ணால் ஒரு சேதி சொல்லடி இந்நாள் நல்ல தேதி.
Wow. Thank you, Rakesh. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
It's been a great conversation. I think I'm sure people have enjoyed both your singing and the conversations. So we really enjoyed the conversation and the singing. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for,
Thanks a
most
lot.
welcome. Lovely being on this and wishing you all the very best.
Thank you so much. We'll meet you all the next time in Everlast next Saturday. We have one more musical evening next Saturday on Everlast. Thank you so much. Bye.